All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are talking about understanding the structure of the Nigerian real estate market. Before you go into a venture, a wise man once says you have to understand the business. You have to understand the key players in the real estate industry, right? So this model is super important. Do not miss this model. Watch it to the very end because this will form the bedrock of your real estate business and you know how to navigate this terrain. But before we go into this, let's take a quick recall on the previous model. In the previous model, we talked about the 3 secrets needed to succeed in the real estate business. Number 1, we said you need to have a system. Can you remember what number 2 is about? Number 2, we said that the next biggest asset is yourself. Nobody can make money for you. You have to make money yourself. You have to show commitment in this craft. You have to be willing to do what it takes, right? Then the next thing is, what is your why? If you didn't get this, you can quickly go back to the first module and watch the video. It is super important. All right, guys, so these are the 3 things you need to succeed in the real estate space. All right, so let's go straight into today's lecture. Today's class is super important because it forms the bedrock of your real estate journey. We're talking about the key players of the Nigerian real estate space. Now, as someone going to the real estate space, you have to be informed so as to be able to navigate through. Here are some of the key stakeholders in the Nigerian real estate space. So number 1, you have the government and government agencies. The government plays a crucial role in the development and regulation of the real estate sector. Some of the regulatory frameworks include the Land Use Act. I will talk about this much later in the training, but you must understand the Land Use Act is one of the most important legal frameworks that govern land ownership and management in Nigeria. Another framework that is used by the government is the Urban and Regional Planning Act. The government regulates urban planning and development through this act. The next is the National Housing Policy. This is a framework that is used for the development of the housing sector. Alright, so these are some of the structures which the government uses to regulate the real estate sector. Other functions of the government includes 1. Provision of infrastructure such as roads, highways, electricity, water, transportation systems, and these are very important for the development of the real estate sector. So it is important to know that the government are the first partakers. They are the major stakeholders in the real estate sector, especially in Nigeria, because when they provide highways and electricity, these affect the quality of the real estate sector. Now, the next function of the government is financing the sector. How does the government do this? The government does this by providing mortgage financing, tax incentives, grants and loans to support developers and investors through some systems such as the Federal Mortgage Bank and other institutions of the government. The next function of the government could include Real Estate Investment Trust Regulation, REITs as they are called. They are investment vehicles that provide a way for individuals to invest in the real estate sector without owning physical property. Here, an investor can come without buying a house or buying a land. They can put in X amount of money and get returns after a couple of time, maybe after like 12 months or after a year. But this is regulated by the Security and Exchange Commission. And you must know that the Security and Exchange Commission is an arm of the government. So the next function of the government is building codes and standards. The government ensures that people comply with laid down codes and standards, laid down rules that will help in construction of houses, construction of roads, and every other thing. The government ensures that buildings or structures in Nigeria are safe. So the next thing that government does is that it provides public-private partnerships. These are strategic partnerships used to drive development. Sometimes the government may provide lands, support, or even the financing of some capital projects, while the developers will now bring the expertise and make something work. These are strategic plans which the government can do, having the population in mind to help increase the standard of living and improve their surroundings. Now, the next stakeholders in the real estate sector are the real estate developers. The real estate developers are companies or individuals that usually buy a piece of property, finance, design, develop, build, and they sell these properties to investors. Examples of real estate developers include companies, real estate companies that buy land, develop the land, sell to investors, or even build this land and resell to investors. Developers identify areas with demand for housing, assess the viability of such projects, and create projects with the aim to meet a demand, and they get rewarded with returns on their investment. Now, other functions of real estate developers include land acquisition and development. Developers purchase or lease land from the owners of the land, which could be government agencies, individuals, or communities. When they acquire this land, they then put the land out there and give it open for investors to put their money in. Right? The next thing that real estate developers do is that they obtain necessary permits. Developers obtain approvals, licenses, and permits from the government and from relevant authorities such that whenever they put out a property, they will not be faced with litigation or government interference. Next is developers clear and prepare a land. When they acquire a land from either from the government or from the community, sometimes it might be thick forest and they need to clear and prepare the land, making it attractive for investors. The next thing they do is that they construct and manage the project. So developers engage in construction, architectural designs. They also bring in the expertise to build and manage properties. They also secure and provide amenities such as security, waste management, and other utilities. As we go ahead in the training, you will understand this much more and more. I'm going to expand on this, and when you become active, when you take action on what you're learning in this training, you will begin to understand what we're saying right here. So, are you getting value from this training at all? If you're getting value, give us a thumbs up. Alright, now the next key players in this sector are the local host communities. The local communities play an important role because some of these lands are inheritance from their forefathers, generational inheritance. Do you understand? So, and they have to collaborate with the developers and the government to bring out some of these estates to make the real estate sector work. Traditional rulers, youths, local governing councils are usually carried along when a real estate project is under development. It is super important that everybody, every stakeholder is involved when companies acquire properties. This is what we do. So the next people that are so important in the real estate sector are the investors. The investors are one of the big reasons why you are watching this video, why you are getting this training. You are getting this training so as to empower you to serve your investors right. Yes, I know you are here to make money, but you have to deliver to your investors, because when you promote a good product and you deliver and make your client satisfied, your business will keep on getting referrals, and referrals is one strong way to ensure sales and continuous sales. The more referrals you get, the more money in your pocket. So a good businessman or a good realtor or a good real estate practitioner knows how to satisfy his investors. So the investors are very important. So an investor is a person who puts financial capital with the expectation of future return or to gain interest, right? So there are different kinds of investors. There are some that invest for personal use. They want to do something for themselves, personal use. Then next kinds of investors are investors that want rental income. When they invest in the property, they want to put it out for lease, or they want to build something and put it out for rent. Next is investing for capital appreciation. These ones, they want to buy a property and hold it down for a while until the property appreciates in value. So they might buy a piece of land at 10 million naira, hold it for a while. When it becomes 50 million, they resell. So they are investing for capital appreciation. It is super important that you watching this video understand who am I talking to. When you meet a prospect, you must understand what kind of investor is this person. What does she want to achieve? This will help you know how to serve the customer, right? For those that want to invest for personal use, either they want to buy land or they want their own personal house, like we said earlier. Some of them are interested in just comfort. Then those that want rental income, by the way, refers to money a property owner receives from leasing or renting out their property to tenants. The property might be land, it might be a building, it might be a warehouse, it might be a shop. This income can be from different types of properties such as residential homes, apartments, commercial spaces, or even land. It is a common way to earn passive income. Like I said earlier, understand your client and know how to serve them. Capital appreciation refers to the increase in the value of an asset over a period of time. The increase in value can be influenced by some factors such as improvement to the property, market conditions, and demand in the area. Now, when there's improvement on the property, for example, when you buy a piece of land that is just bush and you improve the property, you do a fence and you put some structures there, that has increased the value of the land and it helps capital appreciation. That is why lands that are in town are more valuable or are usually more expensive than lands that are in far areas or lands that are in not so developed areas. Why? Because improvement on a piece of land increases the value. Market conditions, then demand for an area can also influence the price. So someone that is buying for capital appreciation, when he buys a land, you will want to show him an area where you suspect high demand in the future or where there is already demand. So those are some of the things you need to know. All right, so when people are after capital appreciation, here are some of the forms of investment that they go into. Number one is land banking, then we have land trading, then we have land flipping, we have fix and flip properties, then we have buy to sell. I will explain them as we go ahead. Are you following at all? We are talking about the key players in the Nigerian real estate sector. Can you list them? Right. So when we talk about land banking is the process of aggregating land for the purpose of future investment. You aggregate land, you hold it for a while, and when they appreciate in value, you sell them. That is land banking. In land banking, you hold the land for a long period of time and you resell. While land trading is similar to land banking, but in land trading, you buy a land and within the shortest period of time, you resell and get your capital. For example, if an estate is launched at a pre-launch price of 5 million naira and maybe the estate was supposed to be sold for 8.5 million naira, but the company was doing a promo and they sold for 5 million, what some people do is that they will quickly go and buy as much plots as they can buy at 5 million. When the price of that property now goes to 8.5 million, that means they've made 3 million naira profit in less than a few months. That is land trading. Land flipping is somewhat similar to land trading. You buy a piece of land, you look for someone else that wants to buy a land, and you increase the price and sell it at the higher price. For example, you can buy a land at 8 million and sell it to somebody at 12 million, depending on how well you market the land and the potential the client sees in the land. We also have fix and flip properties. Here, you buy a property, you work on the property, and you sell the property. So are you following at all? Hope you're not saying too much. If you're confused, you can pause the video, go back, watch it, and ask us questions. Right. So we're talking about the key players in the Nigerian real estate market. We talked about the government, we talked about the host communities, we talked about the investors. Next is the realtor or the real estate agent, which is you watching this video. Alright, so the next key player in the real estate sector are the realtors or the real estate agents or the real estate brokers. Now, who is a realtor? A real estate agent or a realtor is an individual who acts as an intermediary between buyers and sellers of properties or landlords and tenants. Let me take on the first part, an intermediary between buyers and sellers. The sellers here are the real estate developers, while the buyers here are the investors. So you act as a link between the investor and the companies, right? You also facilitate property transactions, right? They provide market information and offer advice to clients and investors. Now, when they help a client acquire a property and close a deal, they earn commissions. Now, commissions vary depending on the setting and depending on the company. Right, we'll talk about that much later in the training. So what else are the duties of a realtor? This is not a fraudulent business. This is 100% legitimate business. We are here to deliver to our clients. How do we do this? We provide market information or listings of properties that are for sale or for rent. We provide information about genuine properties for potential buyers or tenants or for potential investors. It is important, underline the word genuine. Underline the word genuine. You must ensure that whatever you are marketing to a client is free from litigation, is free from government acquisition, is free from communal crisis. You must do your best to ensure that the property is free. Now, we also facilitate property viewings and inspections. So when you become a realtor, as you're taking this training, soon you will be taking clients for inspections. They should be able to see some properties, either it's virtual inspection or physical inspection. You must be seen. You will do this because this is how you will make your money. Next is guiding the client through property acquisition guidelines. Every property has guidelines. If you want to buy land from a particular place, there are guidelines. If you're buying from a company, there are guidelines. There are some terms and conditions. You must be seen, you must be able to understand the terms and conditions and communicate clearly with your clients and helping them to make proper and right decisions when they acquire a property. You must ensure proper documentation of your client's properties. Yes, you cannot separate documentation from properties because a good document backs a good property, and when you have a good property backed by the right and appropriate documentation, you have less of litigation. So you must ensure that your client does the due diligence and all the documents are intact. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to go around this as we go ahead in the training. So another fantastic job of a realtor is to properly follow up clients' investments and properties after acquisition. When a client makes an investment or buys a property, you will not leave the client like that. You must be sure to properly follow up and ensure that your client's investment is safe. It is very, very important that you still follow up. Ask them about the land, ask them about the building. When a client buys a property from you or a land or a building, it does not just end there. You still have to follow them up. And in case you're not aware, land or building are lifelong investment. When a client buys a land, that land is his for a lifetime except he decides to sell it off. So if he is not selling it off, so that means that this client is going to be with you for the long term. So you have to ensure and know that whatever you're doing with a client, you have to be transparent because your client is with you for a long time. You know, cutting of corners. As much as possible, do not cut corners because he will wait you for front. Alright, so your job is to act as an intermediary, but do your due diligence. Now that brings us to the end of module 2. Please watch this video again. Wherever any clarifications, let us know and we'll be right here with you. Thank you so much.